to make money. Couple of bettors. Couple of bettors.
What's up, everybody? Couple of bettors coming at you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. All the holidays. Christmas is coming up 3 days. We're filming this Thursday, right before the Jets are going to be playing against the Jaguars in a big game. So by the time you listen to this, we'll either be happy or sad, or I'll either be happy or sad. So we'll see.
I'll be hopefully richer.
Yeah. We'll get into that. So we did some traveling. We're back in New York right now, as you can see. Background's changing here a little bit. As we started off, weekend at Bernie's.
Get a little staticky over here.
Yeah. Weekend Bernie's. We had...
Oh, yes. Wait, hold on. See, he's got his little Buffalo Bills bandana on. Very hard to get him to pose properly with it. And when he's at the Chili's bar in the Las Vegas McCarran Airport.
Yep. You got to love that Chili's, you know?
It's where that lady thought that she didn't have to pay and didn't have to get arrested because she's too pretty.
That's
Same
right.
Chili's.
Yep. Bernie's... He's happy. He was ready for a long flight. But what a day for dogs, you know? So where do we watch the games? Obviously, we went from that Chili's. We watched that during that Chili's was that crazy comeback game, which we'll talk about later with Indianapolis and the Vikings. But
yeah, that was actually kind of interesting because people around us at the tiny bar were actually also like, "What the hell is going on? This is ridiculous."
Totally.
But shout out to Delta for putting us magically on a plane without knowing it that I could watch the Bills, and so could he, but it was more important that I watched the Bills in the comfort of my chair and on a little tiny phone like I thought I was going to have to. Didn't cut out once. It was perfect. So
Yep.
that was great. Thank you.
And shout out to Double Tito's and Double Woodford Rocks.
Yeah, all day.
All day. Keep them coming, lady. Keep them coming. And that was a good game, too. So I'm sure you'll talk about that, too.
No, never.
We watched the Jets game. Now we're back in New York, a place in Long Beach, Long Island, called the Ugly Duckling. It's actually a pretty awesome spot for sports.
Highly recommend it.
Places that have the giant TVs that you could chop up into 4 games, or you could make it into, one giant game on multiple TVs. So Jets are on.
They had all the other games. They have TVs all around the perimeter, too. So, I was betting on, 5 games while the Jets are playing. They showed the Jets on 2 of the big screens and the Lions in the middle one. But I was able to check out the scores in my other games there. So, good. If you're a bettor and you want to watch multiple games and you're in Long Island, go to Ugly Duckling.
Check it out. You're like, how are the Saints doing back there? You're squinting and you don't know what the score is.
It's fine. Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
All right. Let's face it. This is where we talk about all the news of the week, especially sporting news. So always starting out with a sad one. Why is everybody dying?
It happens during the holidays a lot. People are like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to hit the bed before Christmas comes and make people think about me even more when they're opening gifts and I'm not there.
Yeah, so Franco Harris, Pittsburgh Steeler legend, he had passed away. So he wasn't that old. I think he was in his 70s. But everybody had known him for, he was a Pro Bowler, I think 7-time Pro Bowler in his career. And then also the Immaculate Reception where Terry Bradshaw threw it, bounced around, he caught it. Was it a catch? If they had modern TV with 10 angles, probably not. But
it looks still pretty good to this day.
Yeah, well, they don't have a good angle on him.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
Look,
let the man die with his
legacy.
Immaculate Reception, man. Don't ruin it.
Absolutely. So, R.I.P. Franco Harris, football legend, Hall of Famer. All right, next up, quick one. Sammy Watkins was released. So this one was actually a little bit surprising. When he went over to Green Bay, I was saying to myself, Aaron Rodgers got a target. I mean, this guy had a big career where he had, especially starting out at the Bills was, first couple of years was great.
It was good for the Bills.
But I'm curious to know whether or not he's going to end up somewhere here, where in the next 2 weeks, where somebody needs a receiver and they pick this guy up. I mean, I think he's a good receiver.
He's a little quiet this year, but again, the Green Bay entire team is just not. They weren't, especially most of the first half. They were not doing well anywhere. So we didn't really hear about him. But
maybe back to the Chiefs. He was at the Chiefs at some point.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
All right. Who else?
Well, then we have, everybody should know this. Again, if you don't, you live under a rock and you need to fix that. But Argentina won the World Cup. Messi won what's similar to like MVP of the world in soccer. So good job to him. A lot of people wanted him to get this, and I'm pretty proud. A lot of people want Argentina to win. Shout out to Gonzo. He wanted USA, then he wanted Mexico, because those two didn't make it.
Yeah.
He took Argentina, but Messi has always been his like top guy. So a lot of people happy, a lot of people on the same level as our friends. But more importantly, Salt Bae. I don't know if you haven't seen this video clip, you must check this out.
Not good.
If you don't know who this is, this guy, which I didn't know, somebody had to explain to me. In Miami, we walked by. He has his own restaurant, right? Then now I've learned what he is, what he does. He has one in Vegas. Dead as hell, by the way. But apparently he was on Instagram and TikTok. Was that even there? Or just
I think he started, mostly with
TikTok?
No, with Instagram.
Okay, so he was all over Instagram. Again, I had no social media back then. But his big thing was you'd go to this restaurant, and you'd get a big giant steak, and he'd come out and he'd just put a little salt on it. Sorry, our smoke alarms are going off. So anyways, he's complete douche. They gave him contracts to open up his own restaurants. He's failing miserably. Well, he manages to get out on the field, allowed, not like he forced himself in. He was allowed out on the field when the entire Argentinian team was out there looking at the cup, passing it around, taking pictures. He gets out there, and he grabs Messi by the shoulder and pulls him to make him turn around. Take a look at Messi's face after you watch it once. It's the second time, focus on his face. That man was like, what the fuck? Had asked him to smile for a stupid picture. Messi's very polite, he does, for his Instagram so he could get more Instagram followers. And we're all like, how does he end up there? Not a single A-list celebrity, nobody. But this man gets out there, and on top of it, he's not even Argentinian. We were thinking, well, maybe he's a big hero over in their country. He's Turkish. So we don't even, it doesn't make any sense. But again, for a little giggle, watch those two interact after they win the World Cup. It will not be a waste of your time. Promise.
If Jay-Z and Beyonce grabbed him the way, he would still be annoyed a little bit. But he would be like, oh, fuck, okay.
It's you guys, okay. Beyonce just touched me. All right, I'll take it.
Salt Bae.
And I don't know. Somebody's got to come on and explain how that man ended up on that field and nobody else did. Ridiculous.
Unreal. He apparently had the trophy, and he was doing Salt Bae.
He put his mouth on it too. Just unreal. Completely unreal. The I don't know what you say where you got.
Gall.
No, the access he had to all of this stuff is more unbelievable. But yes, he was true douche form.
It's probably like because he expanded his restaurants too much, and then like they were like, look, you have to do something to go viral here.
I mean, well, he's going viral, but
negative way, right?
Terrible. So anyway, moving on, but
yeah,
just something to look into.
Related to that game, so anybody knows Drake? He's a big sports bettor and bettor in general. So he'll go and spread out roulette table with betting 50,000 a spin.
That chocolate chip.
Yeah. I'm at the win with the chocolate chips. So he bet on Argentina, right? So he bet $1 million, posted a ticket, $1 million on Argentina. That would win 1.75. So he gives the $1 million in. His ticket coming back to him if they won would be 2.75. So if we talked about this once before, if you guys bet soccer, be careful because if the game with the outcome of the game, the winner does not include the overtime. So in football, if you bet, let's say the second half includes overtime. If you bet the game, it obviously includes overtime. In soccer, you have to bet specifically on draw for the main game, and then overtime has to be a money line bet. Anyway, long story short, Drake lost $1 million. I hope he knew that if it ended overtime when a shootout wouldn't count.
Finding out afterwards.
Yeah, because he's like, they won, right? So Argentina won. He's like, I bet Argentina, didn't I? It's like, didn't quite count. So I actually, as much as I should never feel sorry for you, I feel sorry for you if you didn't know that was actually going to be a loss. So, and then last one, Carlos Correa. So Mets and Stevie Cohen. Oh boy, 0.72 capital, hedge fund guy, out there just spending that money. on the Mets this year. So all those Mets fans out here, and I know who you are, who talked all that crap about the Yankees roster and how much they spent on it. Well, they're going all in this year, and they're spending a lot of money. He's going to have to pay that luxury tax to get all those extra players and how much money he's spending over the cap. And good for them, though. Go pay for a title. But this guy got
fucking go Mets. I never knew that was a thing for them, but
LF,
now I like it. LF go.
LFGM.
LFGM. Well, I had to look it up when I wanted to buy a shirt just to participate at being at the the baseball arena.
All right.
Fucking go.
So good for you, Mets. Spend that money. 13 years, $350, and and they also sweeped in last minute because it looked like the Giants were going to be signing him, but they had some health concerns or whatever, and they said, "Hey, show me the money," and he did. So Carlos Correa on the Mets now. All right, quickly, how did we do last week?
More wins and losses this week than in the last few.
It was just kind of even again, though, in terms of money. We're just kind of just muddling along here. Lose just a couple dollars, but it really nothing to write home about. And so, with that being said, like there were some good things that worked, and there was some bad things like the Jets versus the Lions.
Yeah, but there were awesome things like the Raiders pulling out a win on that spread and beating the Patriots last minute. We'll talk about that when we get to one of them.
Yeah.
But fucking awesome. Thank you, Raiders.
So good. Just go talk about it right now. Some takeaways, right? Well, we were at the Chili's, okay, in Las Vegas, Nevada, at McCarran or Harry Reid Airport.
Yeah, whatever. It still comes up in the Uber as McCarran.
Yeah, remember Harry Reid, by the way? He was a congressman that, is there forever. He's like one of these, in the muck, in the soup, the swamp type guy. But he's a Democrat. He actually got, when he was older, he was like 70 years old already, he was working out at home. And like the belt snapped and it hit him in the fucking face and everything else. And he was like, he got knocked out. He like almost died from doing a home workout. So if you got a home gym, make sure you have it checked out, especially if you're over 70 years old. But anyway, so we're at the airport. What a game.
What a game. So if you didn't see it, it was the Colts were up on them 33, I believe it was point.
At the half.
33-0. So shout out to Noobs who even said, you know what, I'm going to put college football on because I covered on my Colts bed. No problem. That wasn't the end of the game. The Vikings caught all the way up and ended up just pulling out a win from 33 points behind. Fantastic. I mean, I feel bad for the Colts, but I also don't know how you allow that to happen. So,
do you know what they did? We'll talk about that game, but like, they benched Matt Ryan now, and they're going with Nick Foles. And Jeff Saturday said, we left too many plays on the field. And think about it, they scored 36, but it was the defensive things. They had an interception, they had a fumble recovery and stuff like that. They scored 36 points. You figure that's pretty good. But to score 3 in the second half, he was not happy about it.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just insane. So I don't know who to congratulate there,
I don't know,
but
Kirk Cousins, right?
Definitely, if you talk to anybody that watched football all day Saturday, it was a good day. I mean,
definitely.
Because as you can see next, we have the Bills hanging on versus the Dolphins in the snow. Wow, I'll go over a few things with that, but very entertaining game.
Back and forth. I mean,
it was a good back and forth with the snow, the cold temperatures, and the Dolphins losing. There's nothing better than that. So go ahead and talk about your team.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, the Jets, they needed that win against the Lions. They need every win now going forward, so they really have to win out pretty much at this point. But, Zach Wilson came back. He threw for 315 yards and 2 touchdowns, but there was a costly interception that he had, and there was a couple other of these. He has these moments, these little glimmers of like, whoa, that was a fucking real big play that he had, right? He rolls one way, throws back across his body for a long touchdown, so on and so forth. But it's these little things on 3rd and 5 where you just got to hit the guy who's right out and get it to him. And it's these things that are like mundane tasks a quarterback has, and he's not doing it. But at the end, he gave him a shot. Poor clock management. Jets had the ball with 1:57 seconds left. They have their timeouts. They should have plenty of time to go down the field. Saleh was like second guessing, didn't call timeout. They really should have had a chance for a couple extra plays. Instead, they had Greg Zuerlein try to kick a 60-yarder. Greg the leg couldn't get it done, so we came up short, which means we lost the money, and we also lost a few percentage points on our chances to go to the playoffs.
Greg the no leg.
Well, he had the distance. He just fucking goofed it. The Jags. So we're playing them, right? So by the time you see this, we already know the outcome. But they go and it's tied up with the Cowboys, and then they get a pick six, batted ball, pick six to win the game. Oh, overtime.
So many overtime.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, it was the under bets were covering. Now it's like closer to the over bets, but also everything's happening in overtime. Bills are just a part of that as well. But
yeah, there's been ties and everything else.
Ridiculous. The Giants lose after a bunch of no calls that they should have gotten.
Yeah, at the end.
Sometimes you say, let's root for poor
officiating.
Poor officiating. That's what the Giants did not want this game, and that's what they got. So it's a tough loss for the Giants.
That is a tough one.
I did make money off their loss, though. So
yeah, and then the Raiders. I mean, as somebody we had money on the Raiders, and then for the Pats to lose the way they did, I was smiling inside.
Nothing greater. And then outside. To see the replays every day, multiple times a day this week.
What are you doing? It's Ty. You're running the ball, and then he flips it back. I think the moment the running back flips it back, his team went into, we're playing the flip play mode because that's what we practice every once in a while for the last play of the game. It's like, no, guys, it's tied up. Just fall on it. Throws it across the field. Oh, they run it back. Chandler Jones, unreal, and I loved it.
Loved it.
So thank you thank you Raiders here. You gave actually the Jets a little bit more of a chance because of the Pats record there.
I appreciate getting my money. Thank you.
Oh, and then who was it, by the way, last week that said take the Texans? It was, I think, both of us here that said take the Texans against the Chiefs. What happened?
Because they had it was a plus 14 spread. That's one thing why we went with them. They who was it the week before? The Titans?
The Cowboys. No, they played the Cowboys.
Where the Cowboys gave the Chiefs the run for their money. So we're like, we didn't, it wasn't, the Texans are going to crush it. It was just, they'll cover this spread. They get 14 points.
They're at home, I think.
Yeah, so, and the Texans were, they had the game before that. They had a decent game. Can't remember.
I was saying the Cowboys.
Oh.
They played the Cowboys really tough, but the Cowboys pulled out a last-second win against the Texans.
I meant the Chiefs looked like,
they
didn't look like themselves.
I forget who it was against. Jags, maybe?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah. It's a lot, but... Anyway,
a lot of games.
So we suggested Texans, and honestly, while the game was happening, I was paying more attention to it. It was like, I'm like, the Texans are up. The Texans are up. They might actually crush them and win. Either way, they covered that 14-point spread, so we made some money. And the Chiefs don't look like they might be as big of a threat as they should, and I love that. So. And
we said if the Texans straight up win, we're gonna be like, why didn't we take the money line for plus 625? And then we go, nah, take the points. Take the points. All right.
Busy week.
Yeah. There we go. Christine's time to rant.
It is my time to rant.
Well, you know what? I'll actually join in a little bit of dancing here just because it was against the Dolphins.
Yep.
And the Jets needed the Bills to win against those Dolphins because they're in a wild card spot.
No one likes the Dolphins.
No. But did I have money on the Bills? Did it cover? We'll talk about it.
Okay. We don't even have to spend a lot of time with that. Yes, the Bills are not covering. They're not covering. And I, again, do not suggest, especially this weekend, betting on the Bills. When we get to that game,
we'll see.
We'll talk about it. They're going to win, but they're not covering these point spreads that they're getting. So as a bettor, I would be completely upset with the Bills. I understand where all of my betting, friends are getting angry at. But as just a Bills lover, I just want the wins, and they're very impressive there. So if you watched that game, you saw the snowballs being thrown. And if you're like me, I thought that was joyous and glorious until Josh had to tell me, no, the Bills could get a 15-yard penalty if they don't stop. And I'm like, come on. So they kindly put a nice, had it scrolled along the stadium. Buffalo, please don't throw snowballs. But I'm going to give complete credit to Barstool Sports for this. They were talking about that. They made the analogy. It's like telling people, they're putting free beer underneath everybody's seats at the stadium saying, please don't drink the beer that we put under your seat. You can't have the seats full of snow and ask people not to throw snowballs at the Dolphins while they're playing, because this is what we do. It's better than dildos. We will say that, and most people did make that as a, it's better. But yeah, they eventually listened. No one wants to see your team lose yards because you're misbehaving. But I did appreciate the sentiment at the beginning, and as long as they followed directions after they were told not to, they did. We ended up winning, squishing the fish, 29-32. Again, not a strong win, not like blown out the water. The weather sucked balls, though. You just think the Dolphins might have had a harder time than they did looking at that score. But the game was entertaining as hell. Like, totally. Just back and forth, back and forth. I just had to throw in the shirt that McDaniels was caught wearing. I wish it were colder. Well, now I think he regrets that. Cook and Knox had some good plays, leading them to get some good touchdown scoring yards this past game. So shout out to those two. And fun fact, a lot of us don't know, but Josh Allen is actually on pace to be the first player ever to average over 275 yards passing and over 50 yards rushing per game. So, I mean, we all know he's running the ball. He's like Superman on the field. But to know that he might be the first player ever to create this record and set it, that's exciting stuff. So on Christmas Eve, we are in Chicago playing the Bears. They have a lot of banged up players right now. There's a list of them. I think for right now there's like 5 to 8 serious ones that aren't going to be in because when they played the Eagles this past weekend, they just kind of got roughed around a little bit. It's also going to be crappy Buffalo-like weather, but minus 11 degree temps with the wind chills. So, again, Bills are used to this. Buffalo is full of that kind of weather, but it is hard to catch things. It hurts when you get hit because your skin's just frozen in those negative 11 degrees. So that's going to be a rough game. I also don't foresee a lot of points being scored. It should be a low over. I don't even know if he would take the over because you're not going to be able to tell. There's high winds, snow. It's just kind of hopeful. Let's go, Bills. Pull out a win. Do the best you can do. It's going to be rough, but let's see if you can make it. And go Bills Mafia. Go Buffalo.
Perfect.
So dumb.
So dumb. Well, look, let's get into the games, and we'll roll through these pretty quickly. I think a big story here that's overarching is going to be this massive Arctic storm push that's coming down, where all this cold weather's coming right from the Arctic, right into the middle of the country. And, I mean, Florida's going to have temperatures in the 30s, so it's affecting a lot of these games. So if you're betting out there, be very careful and check the weather in the games you're betting because it might be really, really cold, and think about how that might set up, right? So for this one today, the Jets are playing against the Jags. The Jets are at home. This is in New York. It's actually fun in terms of like
it's football weather today.
But it's windy, so the wind is picking up right now. It's
wet too.
50 degrees, wet and windy. So they're not going to be throwing a lot of balls around. Zach Wilson is starting. There's going to be a run game, big time. I mean, the under/over is super low at 36. That's like one of the lowest ones that you'll see in general. But we're on those Jets. So the spread says -1 right here. The reality is it's bounced around. I just saw it at -2.5.
Well, I got it, and you guys might want to check, since we're here in New York, I use the Caesars app. I got it as a pick'em. And to be honest with you, I don't ever bet the Jets. I think I did it maybe one other time this year when I thought they were a non-issue for me. Okay, is it going to hurt if the Jets win? Yes, but honestly, at this point, I'd rather play the Jets again in the playoffs than a lot of other teams. And I feel like this is kind of like free money. So I also, as a bettor, kind of want that free money. Yeah. So take a look. I mean, time's ticking, though, to put those bets in. That's why we kind of have to blow through this so we can make the game.
Yeah, they won't see this till after.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that by the time you read this, by the time you watch this, that the Jets will have snapped a streak because they have lost 7 straight primetime games. Oh, so we're hoping that the Jets can pull one out. She regrets it now.
I immediately regret my decision.
All right, let's go. Next up.
Okay, actual games that you could bet on after watching this.
Good game. This is one New York Giants versus
the Vikings.
That's a good game.
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of games on Christmas Eve. The Bills are one of them. Unfortunately, we will not be at a bar with a million TVs, so our bets are a little light on Christmas Eve. But if I were to be able to bet everything, I would lean towards the Giants. I think they could cover the spread. The Vikings, when they do win, they just pull out a win, like by a point or two. They're not crushers at winning. You just looking at them like you just keep getting by. And the Giants, they're on and off this year. I don't know. I think they could do it. So I would take the Giants if I was able to watch more games than just one.
Yeah, I think the Giants' defense is better here. I think that, you see that the Vikings put up 39 points against the Colts, and then you say, maybe the under-over should be large, which it is. It's a 48. Now, I think this is in Minnesota, which should be it's probably outside, literally minus 40 or whatever, but they're in a dome. But I think the Giants' defense is a little bit better than this under-over is doing, so I would probably lean to the under 48. One thing I will say, though, is Kirk Cousins has been clutch. He's thrown the most passing yards in the fourth quarter out of any quarterback in the league. Obviously, he had to do a lot last game, so that factors in here. But
I still say the Giants.
But and then also Danny Dimes with his legs. He's one of only a couple quarterbacks that has over 2,500 yards passing and then 500 yards rushing. So 500 yards rushing, I mean, over that is a lot of fucking yards for a quarterback. I mean, this is you're getting into that Allen, Lamar Jackson category of guys who are running around a lot, and you don't think about him as Danny Jones is the running quarterback. But
so much to say when he's supposed to be quick.
Supposed to be quick. Saints Browns.
Both going on the under.
The cold. This one is in Cleveland. It's gonna be freaking cold out there.
We all know Saints. They live in milder.
They play in a dome too.
Yeah, they're not gonna be used to this.
Yeah. Saints are turning the ball over a ton. We just think that this is going to be an under. And it's also under 32.5 points, which is super low. But watch, there's going to be snow and all kinds of stuff.
It's going to be one of the old Bills games, 3-10.
10-3, 10-3.
That's probably about it. So do the over if you want. Or just ignore it. Boring game. Both going with the Lions. I mean, we saw what the Lions can do the last few weeks. They're getting their groove back. I've bet on them before. They've pretty much covered me -1 time. -2.5. Panthers, you don't know. They're not that great. Sam Darnold's trying to be better, but he's still not getting there.
Yeah.
And the Lions have won 6 of the last 7 games.
They're hot.
After starting 1-6. So, like I said, they're getting their shit together. I would take the Lions -2.5. As is Josh.
Yep, we'd lean it. We're not
leaning. Yeah, again,
not betting
trying to calm it down a little bit with the betting during Christmas Eve.
All right, this is my lock of the week.
Whoa, that was so loud.
Lock of the week: Cincinnati Bengals going to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots.
Who suck balls?
Yeah, look, the Bengals are hot. They won 6 straight games. They're doing all the things right. I mean, we saw them start a little bit slow against the Bucks last week, but at the end of the day, they came out second half and just crushed. I think they just have too much. And, looking at the things that are happening over at the Patriots, the way they end up losing against the Raiders is sad. I really, and also, frankly, I want the Patriots to lose from a playoff standpoint. So put your money on the Bengals, -3 points. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, too much. You can't stop it, Bill Belichick. So get that money.
Get that money.
Get that money.
All right, we've got the Bills at the Bears.
That's right. This is the Monday night?
Christmas Eve, Saturday.
That's right.
And it's not at night.
It's during the day.
During the day.
Remember, in Chicago.
Our entire day is planned around us being able to watch this game, you idiots.
It is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or
10 a.m. if you live
Pacific time.
Where we should be. All right, so listen, he would lean towards the Bills, but again, I'm weary of this spread -9. Again, with the weather and the Bills' lack of ability to cover spreads, we're doing a gambling show. I got to be honest with you. I don't think you should be putting your money on the Bills right now. The Bills are also trying to get these wins. Their goal is to get to the Super Bowl, not trying to crush it. Also, though, with -11 degrees, wind, snow. This is a similar situation with the Bengals. The Bengals game, which one? The Vikings game. No, what were we talking about that was just really cold and shitty weather?
Cleveland.
Yes. Oh,
Brown.
the Saints. Yeah. It's the same situation. It could be 10-3. You know, it's just going to be awful weather, and you can't blame anybody for what they do. You're just hoping who's going to push out a little bit better of a win.
Yeah.
You know, the Bears have a terrible record, but it's going to be a toss the ball and get what you can get.
Running, probably.
Yeah. So go the under if you really want to win some money.
Yeah, I mean, look, both of these teams can, like, if it's windy and cold, both of the teams have quarterbacks that can run.
Right.
So you might actually end up getting, like, a little bit of a fun game, especially if it's, like, snowing and stuff like that. Justin Fields on pace. So she talked about the record that Allen's on pace for. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields might break Lamar Jackson's rushing record for quarterbacks all-time yards in the season, which he's on pace for about 1231. So we'll see. I don't think he's going to get a lot done, but, you know, it's going to be a snowy, weird, cold game. And I always get nervous about these, like, you know, because it's like weird fumble, not minus degrees, you know.
It's very hard. I mean, honestly, I would stay away from betting a lot of these stormy games because you just can't tell. And I don't think they're a good example. Like, if a team shits the bed, I don't think you can hold that against them in kind of weather like this. However, you know, if the Bills crush it, I will give them. They are the best. They're the best.
That's facts.
They are the best, though. So there you go.
There you go. Texans versus the Titans. You know, this is a weird game in the sense that, like, the Texans have been playing with everybody. The last 3 games in a row, they've been playing tight with people, and they're 1-12-1.
It's a terrible record. They don't look like they're right.
It's a tough one. You know, if they lose, they clinch the number 1 draft pick, because they'll be, you know, the maximum wins they could get at that point would be only a couple, so they're already screwed.
But take them. They have a chance of covering that +4 spread.
Yeah.
Tennessee shouldn't be that terrible with weather. I mean.
No. I mean, it's going to be cold still, but, you know, and Derrick Henry, again, we said it last week, he'll have 100. That's fine, but, like, you're going to need more than that. And the Texans can put up some points, so be careful, but we lean the Texans.
All right, well, here I am again, betting my Seahawks. But this is a similar situation with the Texans bet that definitely covered and won. +10 against the Chiefs. Yes, Seahawks are going to Kansas City.
Cold.
It's still going to be cold, but the Seahawks are in Seattle. This is not like new anything for them. And if you paid attention to what we said about the Texans or watched the Texans game against the Chiefs again just pulled out a win against a crappy 1-12 team. Definitely think the Hawks are going to cover this, be able to cover this spread. Not necessarily win, but +10. If you're getting 10, I would take my money's on that, on the Seahawks.
And look, Gino's like at 11 out of the 14 games, he's thrown for multiple touchdown passes. So they put up points, and he throws touchdown passes. I'm betting the under here because it's 49. That's a super high under-over bet in the cold weather. Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, she's talking about the Seahawks +10. I mean, I honestly think this game could be like a, 28-21 or maybe 24-21 type game where it covers her spread, but it also covers the under 49. So I'm betting my money on that under 49 in the cold in Kansas City. Let's go.
We're both leaning towards the Ravens.
Yep.
Falcons versus Ravens.
Yeah. This game is like, bleh.
Yeah. There'll be other games on. Maybe you don't watch this one.
Lamar's back, I think, right? Like, I think I saw the recent spread. We're putting up 7.5. I think it might even be 6.5 now. But, yeah, they say that, like, the Ravens team, because they're well coached, they really start gelling more in the later part of the season, and that Harbaugh is 25-9 at home in December under Harbaugh, which is good. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
whatever.
Save your money on this one.
Save your money. Or if you really want action and you're watching it, go bet on Lamar.
Bet on Lamar. Always bet on Lamar.
If he's playing.
All right, well, here is my
Lock of the week.
So dumb. He's so annoying.
I love it.
I'm going over. Like, first of all, I don't do a lot of these bets. I usually pick the team and the spread that I think is going to be covered. But I'm going over 30 with the 38. I think that's a low over. You got the Commanders versus the Niners, 2 strong offenses. I think that they're just going to be battling it out. Good team versus good team. nobody has bad weather. Like
Yeah,
San
right.
Fran is pretty decent over there. I'm sure it's gonna be chillier, but it's not gonna be snowing. Hopefully, it's not raining. So between who you see on the Niners and you've got the Commanders team, I think it's definitely the over. I'm surprised it's not higher. I would think it should be like 42, but maybe I'll be eating my words when it doesn't cover. But that's my lock of the week.
Let's go. Oh, you seem so emphatic about that one.
Well, no, now I'm just like crap. It's one of those things. What does Vegas know that I don't know? Because this seems like a trap.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
taking
like
it.
Bosa, is a big pass rusher, so he's going to get a sack or two on Heineke. The Washington defense has been pretty good, but I think San Francisco's offense is too. They got McCaffrey and all those guys. I feel like that they'll combine. I agree. I think that this bet is almost also like Purdy and Heineke outperforming.
Yeah,
is going to get you.
And you're getting to the end of the road here, so people need to pick it up, and I think they'll both pick it up.
Like it.
So my lock.
Cowboys, Eagles at the Cowboys. So Eagles are starting Gardner Minshew because Jalen Hurts has a sprained right shoulder, and I think they said, you know what, we already kind of have locked it up here.
Yeah,
so do we need to risk our guy? No, we don't. So who knows what's going to happen with Minshew?
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm leaning towards the Cowboys. I think they'll crush it. -4.5, easy. Because we don't know. Like now, Minshew may come in and be like a complete shocker, but the Eagles are what they are because of Hurts, and he's not in. So
yeah, it's interesting to say. Like we talked about the Cowboys, which one are you going to get all the time? They're leading the league in scoring offense, but at the same time, they're letting up the most amount of sacks. So it's just like
exactly,
guys,
you don't know what you're
doing?
going to get.
Yeah. So on this one, I kind of again would lean towards the under, just because I'm kind of betting that it's a rusty Minshew who hasn't started a game in a while, and probably the Cowboys end up winning, but not that great of a game. Because Eagles do have a great defense too. Okay, Raiders at the Steelers. Now this is going to be a cold one again, right? I mean, everything's going to be cold, but this will be a cold one.
Well, so I'm actually putting my money, and if you notice, I have not had a lot of money on a lot of these games, but I'm taking the Steelers on this one at -2.5. Steelers are at home. They know how to play in the cold. Raiders play in a dome. Raiders are also not like been that great. Thank you for again catching the fuck up that the Patriots did and covering, but I'm going Steelers on this one. I think this is their time to shine. Give the people what they want on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I can't remember where we're at this schedule right now.
Yeah, look at this. It says Steelers allowed 17 or fewer in 4 straight games. So the Steelers' defense has really been doing their job. And with Derek Carr coming across from the other side of the country, who's used to playing in a dome, I'm betting the under. 38.5 here in the cold weather, I think, is a tough one with a tough Steelers defense. So I'm going to bet under 38.5.
I just want to mention something. If you follow all of his bets, that's great. You're going to be rooting for nothing this entire weekend.
Let's do it.
Because who wants to root for nothing? Boring.
I'm rooting for that cheddar. The paper.
I'm rooting for that, those dollars also, but I want to be cheering while I'm making that money.
Well, then make sure you bet it on the games you're not watching, so you don't have to be bored about it.
Well, yes, that's true. But we will be watching the Steelers.
This one is an important one for me. Green Bay Packers at the Dolphins, the fish.
I mean, we need the Dolphins to lose just as much as you do. I mean, not as much as you do, but
no.
Go ahead. Like I said, I'd rather play you guys in the playoffs than any of these other clowns.
Yeah, you probably want the Dolphins.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
All right. So, but if I'm going to be honest, I would lean towards the Dolphins on this one. I don't think the Packers are going to do it, but I understand why you want them to lose.
Yeah, so the Packers, their defense has allowed 150 yards rushing on average. So if the Dolphins can get their run game going, the Packers will let that up. But two is, because of those freaking receivers that they have, he's like leading the league with deep touchdown passes.
Yeah, but the last 3 games they looked like they tanked. I mean, they didn't look terrible against the Bills, but they couldn't pull out a win at all. And the other 2 games they look like garbage. So I don't foresee. I think they're kind of falling apart a little bit. Not sure why, but
they're at home though.
Yeah, they are at home. That's why I would say they could cover that -4. That they are going to win The Packers are also, in my mind, not good. I haven't seen that much improvement, but I do know that we weren't able to watch them one of the most recent game where they were kind of like a little bit better looking.
Yeah. So we'll see. Next up, Denver Broncos at the LA Rams. Broncos, they won.
Woo!
Good job, Broncos. You're coming off a freaking win for the first time since week 8.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Yeah, look, Russell Wilson getting it done, earning that $200 million.
Yeah, Jesus. Can you imagine?
Oh, my God. It's terrible. It's like they bamboozled the whole team.
Yeah, bamboozled.
And they also gave away the pick. So now that the Broncos gave away their best pick,
they gotta keep him?
Since they're so bad, the Seahawks are getting the best pick now.
My God.
So Gino's going to get even more help if they stay with him, which I think they will.
Well, we know the Rams have Baker Mayfield. Now he was surprisingly awesome the first game. Not so good the next one.
Yep.
So you're not really sure what kind of Baker you're going to get, but we both believe that they're going to cover this over 36.5. Good weather. No issues there.
They're in a dome. Baker's getting used to the offense. Russell's starting to cook. So let's ride.
Still makes me giggle.
Let's go back and forth, score some points, and beat the Rams. You've lost 7 out of the last 8 games. Do something, Come on, guys.
You were Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, you were Super Bowl champs, and you trash.
You trash. But get the over.
Get the over.
All right.
Bucks, Cardinals.
Yeah,
Cardinals.
we're both leading on the under, but leaning, not putting money on because, again, I hate betting the under. I think it's boring as hell. And this game should probably be boring as hell as well.
Yep. So
That's
I'm
pretty
going to
much
move
all
on.
you need to know.
That's it.
That's just crap.
All right, Chargers at the Colts. We are both betting this one. And like we I don't know if we mentioned this. Yeah, we mentioned this before, that Nick Foles, which I don't know if everybody remembers the Super Bowl where the Eagles won, Fly Eagles Fly, and he earned himself a nickname, Big Dick Nick. That's what they called him.
I do not remember this.
Nick Foles, absolutely. So
I
look,
will be cheering for Big Dick Nick the whole time.
Exactly. No, I think that we both think they're getting points at home, so it's a home underdog.
They pulled up. They had the 33 points on the Vikings the first half.
They put that up. And then the second half they went to shit, and they made a change, which is good. They went to a guy who's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and Chargers are on the road. Look, they secretly want also the Chargers to lose because it has implications for the Jets playoffs. Absolutely. But
as someone who doesn't give a fuck about that, I'm still going with the Colts. So
there it is. So that's where our money's at. Go get him. Justin Herbert, one last fact. Yeah. He's the first one that's ever started as a quarterback his first 3 seasons, throwing over 4,000 yards in 3 consecutive seasons to start his career. Nobody's ever done it. Herbert fucking slings that thing, but we hope he's off to on Monday night, and that they lose, or at least don't cover, but pretty much don't lose. All right, quickly, what are we betting? We went through it. We'll go quickly.
Yes, very quickly. Jets and Jaguars, again, you're going to watch this after they've already covered, hopefully.
And won.
Then we have Josh's Lock of the Week.
Lock of the Week, Bengals at the Patriots. Burrow and Chase, too much for, a shitty coached team like the Patriots who are doing stupid things at the end of a game. Haha, Belichick, I can say that now after last week. All right.
We're going to be late for this game.
You're up next.
Seahawks plus 10 versus the Chiefs.
Yep.
They get 10 points. They'll be fine. Put your money there.
And I'm hoping that not too many points are scored there in a cold Kansas City, so I'm betting under 49.
My lock of the week is Commanders-Niners over 38 points. It's 2 good teams going at it. Take the over. 38 is low. Let's go.
All right.
Oh, and then I have, Steelers minus 2.5 versus the Raiders. Steelers at home. Raiders, they're not gonna. This is an easy one. Steelers minus 2.5.
Pickett's back.
Yeah. Oh, and
Kenny
Pickett's
back.
Yeah. That's a big deal. So, again, go Steelers minus 2.5.
And I'm betting the under on this one. Raiders, Steelers. Steelers, it's cold over there, and I think that Derek Carr doesn't play well in the cold. I said it earlier in the season. I was, the outcome wasn't the best when I bet on it, but I think this one's going to be under 38.5.
And we're both taking the Broncos-Rams over at 36.5. Again, low over. So hopefully, might as well. Let's ride.
Let's ride, and let's Baker do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, we just talked about it. Colts plus 4.5 versus the Chargers at home. Home underdogs, Monday Night Football behind Big Dick Nick Foles, ready to go. And with that, we're wrapping it up. We're going to walk down the block and go watch these Jets win the game. So when Christine gets her stuff ready to hear, we're going to give you a little
I always forget.
like, subscribe. If you haven't seen us before, do this, do that, do this, do that. We love you all. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Yes.
Happy everything else. We love you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bettors. Couple of bettors.
I want to make money. Couple of bettors. Couple of bettors.
Couple of bettors.